Before we begin, there are a few important things I would like to mention. Now, first of all, the Dhamma that was preached by Lord Buddha was preached in the language of Magadhi. It's an Indian language which we now have come to know as Pali language. So the Pali language is such that it is very extensive. And when it comes to translating from Pali to English, there comes, it's not sometimes possible to get the exact meaning. Therefore, I would suggest, or I would encourage you all to become more familiar with the Pali terms. And with time, it will become a very effortless process. The next thing is, I hope that all of you are familiar with the Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha, because although Dhammasaṅgaha is the first book of the Abhidhammattha, traditionally we learn the Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha before we come to study the Abhidhammattha itself, because the Abhidhammattha Saṅgaha now is considered as a primer. It gives an outline, an overview of the Abhidhamma. It elaborates on the ultimate realities, gives a basic introduction, making it very easy to study the Dhammasaṅgaha and the rest of the Prakaranas. Okay, so let's begin with a brief introduction, but before that, we will pay homage to the Buddha, saying Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So, the Abhidhamma is part of the Tipitaka. Lord Buddha's teachings have been compiled throughout the years into 3 separate components or groups. These are called Tipitaka, or 3 baskets. Ti meaning 3, Pitaka meaning baskets. And within these 3 baskets contains 84,000 Dhamma khandas. That is another way of dividing this Dhamma. So there are 84,000 Dhamma khandas, out of which 21,000 are contained within the Sutta Pitaka, another 21,000 within the Vinaya Pitaka, and the balance 42,000. That means half of Lord Buddha's teachings are grouped or compiled within the Abhidhamma Pitaka. The Sutta Pitaka is a Pitaka containing all the conventional teachings of the Buddha, and it uses common vocabulary. It includes the practical aspect of teaching, and this is called Vohara Desana in Pali. The Vinaya Pitaka is Lord Buddha's authoritative teaching, the Ana Desana, and here, Lord Buddha has used his authority over the monks and the nuns, where he laid down the rules and the principles, the disciplines for them to follow. Now, one would think that Lord Buddha was kind of trying to impose rules upon these monks and nuns, but it is not so. It is simply for the reason that by maintaining a higher code of ethics, it would enable one to purify one's actions as well as one's thoughts, and thereby enable that person to become a noble person who is worthy of veneration, not only by man, but by God as well. Finally, we come to the Abhidhamma Pitaka, and this contains the higher teachings of the Buddha, the Paramattha Desana. They are the teachings on the ultimate realities or the ultimate truths. Now we move on to the 2 types of realities, or satcha. Satcha meaning reality. One is conventional truths, or the Sammuti Satcha, and the other is called Paramattha Satcha, the ultimate truth. Now, both of these are true in different contexts. Now, for instance, if you take Sammuti Satcha, and that is the kind of reality that is preached in the Sutta Pitaka and the Vinaya Pitaka, here Lord Buddha speaks of I, you, man, woman, so on and so forth. as though they were concrete realities. However, when it comes to the Abhidhammattha, it speaks of Paramattha Satya, where all of these entities, I, you, man, woman, are broken down into its final ultimate reality, which cannot be broken down further. And it's from this standpoint that the Abhidhammattha describes each of the realities, their characteristics, their functions, and how they are interrelated to each other. Therefore, in the Abhidhamma, all these conceptual entities, although they are accepted in the suttas for merely for the purpose of carrying out a meaningful conversation, these are broken down into the ultimate bare mental and material phenomena, which are impermanent, which are conditioned, and dependently arisen, and they're empty of any self or substance. Now let's briefly look at the Paramattha Dhamma, or the ultimate realities. I'm sure you all would be familiar with these. First of all, Chitta, there are 89 different consciousness. Chetasika, 52 mental factors. Rupa, 28 matter or corporeality. And Nibbana, the state of final deliverance. Now, before we begin, let's see what Abhidhamma means. The word Abhidhamma is actually, it consists of two parts, a prefix Abhi and the word Dhamma. And it refers to the higher teachings of the Buddha, that which exceeds and is distinguished from the Dhammas. Now here the word Dhamma refers to the suttas. And this prefix Abhi is given because the teachings within the Abhidhamma excels and is distinguished by a multitude of qualities, which differs from the suttas. It doesn't mean that the suttas in any way are inferior. It's just that in terms of classification and description, Abhidhamma is more complete, whereas the suttas give only a partial classification. One such example is the 5 aggregates, or the Panchakanda. In the Panchakanda, the 5 aggregates, if you look at the suttas, they're only partially classified. Whereas in the Abhidhamma, in the Vibhanga Pitaka, it's classified fully and it's given in various different, it's described in various different classifications, different methods. The Abhidhamma Pitaka consists of 7 volumes or 7 books. The first being the Dhamma.acharinee, next is the Vibhanga, third, Dhatu Katha, and fourth, Puggala Panyati, fifth, Kathavattu, sixth, Yamaka, and 7th, Patthana Prakarana. Now, it's important to learn the Dhamma.acharinee well, particularly the Matika, which we will be introducing next, because they will be coming in the next books, particularly the Vibhanga, Dhatu Katha, and Yamaka, and finally the Patthana Prakarana. The Puggala Panyati is the one which is a little different. It doesn't really talk about the ultimate realities, but instead it talks about different people or different personalities. And it's a little different compared to the other 6 books.